Okay. So the little mediation thing went quite well. I've got to put my counsellor, social worker, psychologist down, um, and do something that I hope was beneficial for both my mum and my son. A couple of things that were really interesting. So I think just people having the opportunity to talk in a way that is like facilitated is like really beneficial. But aside from that, I think the two things that came out of it that of most interest was so firstly, I got to, because people express themselves and because questions were asked that were progressive, I guess, rather than people just talking about what the other person did and didn't do, but actually talk about how they felt. I was able to explain to both my mum and my son what the 5 love languages were and how oftentimes the disconnect and where communication breaks down and where relationships break down often relates back to somebody feeling like the other person is being neglectful, somebody feeling like the other person isn't loving them. But more times it's not that that person doesn't love you, it's just that the the language that they're using to love you isn't something that you're capable of receiving. And once we figured out actually that my mum's main love language is acts of service, so she wants people to do things for her, and she feels that she's showing love when she does things for other people. So she was able to give a number of examples about how, you know, she cares for Callum when she makes him stuff, when she buys him things, when she buys him clothes, when she buys him stuff like that. Maybe it's gifts, actually, thinking about it now. Maybe I just got it completely wrong. But it was good for him to understand, oh, okay, you do love me and you are trying to show me that you love me through doing these things. And more time, it's like the way that we give love is the way that we want to receive love. So when Callum isn't doing things, when he's like leaving his room a mess or whatever, like the kind of stuff that teenagers do, right? But everybody needs to learn to compromise and to live with other people. To her, it feels like neglect. To her, it feels like disrespect. And she was able to understand that not everybody has that love language, which I think for my mum was probably novel, to say the least. She said, I don't tell people that I love them. I don't do it because it's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. I can say that I love you and still be neglectful. I can say that I love you and see that you need clothes and not bother to buy them for you. Like, so really what does saying I love you mean? And I get it, like, because that's what she's learned. That's how she's learned to process or whatever experiences she's been in. Clearly people have told her that they love her and been really neglectful to her. But I think for her, it was novel to understand actually not everybody thinks like that. That there are actually some people that do need to be told that they are loved. They need someone to say, I love you, man. Like, you're doing a really good job. I'm really proud of you. Like, there are other ways to show love than just the way that she thinks. So I think that was really, really, really helpful. And now they have a better understanding of one another, which is going to make life here, I hope, a little bit better. They were able to write down 3 things that they wanted the other person to do that would help to show them that they are thinking about them, that they care about them. I think for me, one of the biggest things that happened was my mum has a tendency to kind of dismiss other people's feelings. So Cows was saying, I feel this and I feel that and I feel like, you don't want me around and I feel this and I feel that. And she's like, basically, well, you can feel like that, but that's not true. um, And I think I felt like that a lot of the time when I was younger, because my mum's probably on the fucking spectrum more than likely, but like that's just who she is, right? So she couldn't hear me when I was saying to her, I feel like you hate me. Like, because she's like, yeah, but I don't. Like, and I buy you clothes. So what the fuck do you mean? Your feelings, they don't mean anything because they don't match up with what my perspective is, what my perception of this is. And she was doing the same thing with Callum. Yeah, but Callum, when you do this and when you do that, like, and the conversation was just cyclical. I treat you this way because of how you treat me. I mean, I've got my own opinions on that. And, putting that much responsibility on a child and saying, I'm going to treat you badly because you can't regulate yourself because they're a child. Like, but anyway, at one point, Callum said to her, I feel like you don't love me. And it was really hard for him to express that. He was holding back a lot. And after he said it, he just broke down in tears. And my mum was too busy on her rhetoric of defense mechanism to really see that happening in front of her. And it was beautiful for me because I got to stop her and say, hey, mum, look, I hear what you're saying. Like, I understand. Like, I get it. But can you just look at your grandson for a second and how broken he is right now, having said to you that he feels like you don't love him? And it was really beautiful and meaningful and rewarding to see my mum actually stop and take heed of a child breaking down in front of her, whether she believes it's true, whether she does this or that and the other, no matter what way she gives, that there's a person in front of you that's breaking down and telling you how they feel. And whatever your retort, that means something. That's important. You need to take notice of that. And I feel like that was never done for me, which is why I'm so hell bent on doing it with other people. I think maybe to the point previously where it was pathological, but now I've reined it back a little bit to a point where it's actually like a healthy expression of love. But yeah, to see that and to see my mum able to comprehend that in a way that was human and compassionate and empathetic, and to see that it actually did have an effect on her, that she stopped and allowed it to have an effect on her, which is something that she often doesn't want to do because it's too painful. I think that is more impactful than any argument that could have been made, any way of trying to rationalize or compartmentalize or reason, like any strategy that could have been employed. That one moment was more powerful. And I think it was powerful for me as well. So I'm happy. I'm happy. All right, that's all.